Hey everyone, I had a comment I thought was worth addressing here. I'd like to hear about the psychological changes. Has it changed how people have treated you being thin, or how you act in public being thin? Fascinating question to me, and being born a baby Buddha clone, I've vacillated between being fat and thin pretty much all my life. I was thin for a while before elementary school, where I was then occasionally bullied for being fat. I don't remember it being too bad since I also kind of towered over the other kids, but those that did make fun of me to my face made an impact. I couldn't take my feisty mom's advice, which was tell them they must be poor or their parents don't love them enough to feed them. Come on, mom. My mom is the best cook I've ever known, but you know what? That also contributed to my early weight issues. I saw her once interact with my 6-year-old niece, telling her, if you don't finish what's on your plate, the police is gonna come and get you. No, don't do that. She obviously meant well, but it's kind of terrible and likely contributed to my inability to know when I was full. I naturally shed the weight when I lived with my dad, despite all the household junk food, partly because I played basketball constantly and skipped school lunches to kind of pocket the lunch money. By the time I was in high school, I stood 6'3" and 175 pounds, and I absolutely thought I was still fat. A friend actually had to stop a conversation and tell me, dude, you're skinny. Like, how do you not see that? I say all that to say this. I had body image issues.
Okay, Mike, we have had enough of you. For the main attraction, let's start by me sharing some of my own insight. So unlike Mike, for all of my childhood and pretty much most of my adult life, I was never actually fat. As a toddler, apparently my legs were skinnier compared to the other kids in our family that my aunt used to call me malach. Translation to English, grasshopper or cricket. Throughout the most of my elementary school till 5th grade, I was your typical skinny kid.
Once that notion settled in, I became more confident and outgoing. For the first time, girls admitted they had crushes on me. I had my first girlfriend. I think being tall and a male also benefited the public perception of me. I undeservedly got positions where I was unqualified and got managerial offers I didn't apply for as a teenager. I sold women's shoes in high school, and despite being a poor communicator with women, I was usually at the top of sales. You know, Nine West also makes a handbag that matches those heels. I think they look great on you, by the way. Older women would ask questions like my age or when I had a break. Still, the residual perceived stench of obesity didn't leave room for much of an ego. I will always remember this Dateline-like special where the host asked a class full of kids, would you rather be fat or ugly? An overwhelming majority chose ugly. It even affected who I was attracted to, often prioritizing figure over face.
Mike, you are being fat phobic. In the beginning of my middle school, I gained a little bit of weight, and I began to notice some subtle biases from teachers. In fact, there are well-documented studies about that. For example, my PE teacher was thinking that because I was overweight, it meant I was lazy and must be performing poor in my other classes. She was shocked to find out that in reality, I was actually smart and I was good in other subjects.
I was once engaged, and when that didn't pan out, I quickly gained weight. And it was the first time I tipped the scales at over 300 pounds. As the weight piled, the less inclined I was to maintain myself. I ended up not shaving or cutting my hair for a whole year. And the best I could do was grow this little like Fu Manchu stash. I didn't approach anyone and no one approached me. My mom always spit the truth. You're fat. You need to lose weight. Of course, even when I was skinny, she'd still say, lose 5 more pounds. Other family members were less truthful. Kinder, but less truthful. And try to find all sorts of excuses for me. You know, you're tall though. You wear it well. I like you better this way. You seem more jolly. I mean, if you really care, don't say things like that. The truth is way more helpful than cliched nonsense. By the way, you wear it well is kind of the same as you hide it well to me. It doesn't change the fact I'm overweight and unhealthy. But I did hide it well. Slouching with baggy clothes and vertical stripes. I certainly became more of a jokester as a defense mechanism. I've I felt I needed to make up for my appearance with humor, so I'd poke fun at myself. And being fat allowed me to more easily poke fun at others too, I noticed. It's the Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill phenomenon of being considered less funny the skinnier they got.
You shouldn't have lost all that weight, man. There's nothing funny about a physically fit man.
I know, it's lame, right?
Yeah.
Having an apparent defect put people at ease if I were to say something ridiculous like, "Hey, did you put lipstick on?" Didn't help. I was always playful, but I think it came across more funny than flirty. My confidence was severely shook during this period of time. I remember going with my mom and brother to a title company, and just by sitting in one of their chairs, straight up broke it and fell to the ground in front of everyone. Still haunts me. Reinforce your shit, people. I also remained single. One time some close friends wanted a mini reunion. One in particular I hadn't seen in ages. She was one of my closest friends. She was kind to me as an introverted guy in high school. She would drive me around when I was carless and got me my first real job. When they arrived, she was oddly quiet, and after about 30-45 minutes, she said she didn't feel good, so they left. My other friends disclosed afterwards that she just didn't recognize me and felt awkward. That stuck with me.
Going back to my original story, in order to lose a little bit of weight, my mom signed me up for an aerobics class, which I hated the idea instantly. Mom, who is going to aerobics class? Middle-aged old ladies? But I actually ended up loving those Zumba-like dance classes. I also noticed that since I was not super skinny anymore, I stopped being friends with super skinny people. Right before starting college, I reached 132 pounds, which was the heaviest I weighed up until that point. It was a sign for my family to send me to see a dietitian. Could you believe that? So, that was the official beginning of my relationship with diet culture, and since then, I had been able to maintain my weight between 121 to 127 pounds, with the height of 5'4".
I lost a bunch of weight after that, and once again, I was back in the game. Funny turned flirty. I would approach, and girls would flirt back. At bars, strangers, bar hops, waitresses, they'd more often strike up conversations and give off that, vibe. My standards became higher. Part of the confidence came with the fact that losing weight forced me to get a bunch of new clothes, and that combination made me feel like a new person and better about myself. At least for men, personality and confidence can overcome self-perceived physical defects, but I couldn't act confident if I didn't feel good about myself. It led to more invites from friends, definitely went out more, and shortly got into a long-term relationship. However, my humor sometimes would be received as me being a jerk. My girlfriend admitted this. Her first impression of me was I was an asshole, and who would want to be friends with that guy? But it was her and her friend who got a hold of my number somehow and asked me out. Why was that? I repeated this yo-yo cycle quite a few more times. The second time I reached 300 pounds, I was so depressed. I never went out, ignored all my friends, and was just really disgusted at my own image. I mean, I took down mirrors or covered them up with towels and blankets to avoid just risking a glance at myself. I hated group photos and avoided appearing in videos, even though that's what I did. All I wanted to do was work and nothing else. I did lose the weight again, and I can confirm today, I just can't get enough of this damn perfect face. Look at the bone structure.
When did I exactly turn from this to this? The truth is, I'm not exactly sure, but here is what I think. Number one, my prime suspect is when I came to the US for school and I opened up myself to a standard American diet. Another factors, stress and pressure of grad school, obviously. And I was vegan about a year and my carb consumption went through the roof. And after graduation, I simply became less active.
So in summary, when I was fat, I was introverted, less likely to maintain my appearance, and thus wanted and received less attention.
That doesn't apply to me because my confidence is sky high regardless of how I look. Next.
Second, when I was skinny, I felt more confident, took better care of myself, and walked around with better posture and more eye contact, which is something that people can sense. It's just more appealing and approachable.
Interesting. In the past, when I was skinnier, I was paying too much attention to how I look. And I was spending too much money on makeup, clothes, and I cared more about how I would appear in public. But now my perspective changed totally, and I shifted my how I look mentality to how I feel mentality, and now nothing can get in the way of my comfort.
Third, when I was fat, I was less likely to be invited to clubs and bars and hated eating around friends out of fear of their judgment.
When I was thinner, I purposefully did not order too much food around friends. But this is me now.
Fourth, as far as dating, I'd get more interviews, but it doesn't mean I got more job offers. The reality is personality and confidence matter way more and makes up for being overweight, more so than being skinny made up for being boring. However, it was easier to identify when someone was interested in me. I could do a whole video on the psychology of attraction. That subject just super fascinates me.
My personal relationship with close ones, like my husband, fortunately haven't changed since my weight gain. However, it sometimes hurts when someone sees the thin me in the older photos and says, "Ah, you were really hot or pretty or attractive." Like I'm not that anymore.
Next, my humor was a defense mechanism, but it was also enhanced just by being fat. My playful disses would always come across funny, but Skinny Mike was sometimes considered a jerk.
I can say that people, especially friends, perceive me as more trustworthy now. In the past, friends accused me of being too competitive when it came to the grades and simple stupid games. In the games like Mafia, they always accused me of being a liar. Nowadays, friends see me as funny, cute, silly, and trustworthy. The truth is, I'm the exact same person. The only difference is my weight. Or maybe I'm just a better liar now.
And finally, I can't tell how much it affected my work. I've always felt that my height and being male were more of a factor in that regard.
Yeah, there's no doubt that society has always been more judgmental towards overweight females. Ugh. Why you guys always have things in your favor? I always wanted to pee standing up. I gotta pee.
Oh my God. You're incredible.
Weight affects everyone differently. I've known enough overweight folks where all the things that affected me never bothered them. They are happy and was always super confident, and that transcends. But because of my experiences, I do hope that I have a better balance of humility, self-deprecation, self-appreciation, confidence, and empathy. How about you? Have you experienced people treating you different after losing a ton of weight? Do you yourself act different? I'd really love to know, so please leave a comment and like and subscribe while you're at it. I hope everyone understands that your weight shouldn't determine how awesome you are. Be well, friends.